Hello everybody. Today I am going to teach you paper 1 topics. Would you like that? So expected topics in paper 1. We are starting from research aptitude. Over the months, I will do various courses, 5-day courses covering various aspects of paper 1 as much as I know. Okay guys, hello, welcome to this session. I hope it will be as interesting as the other sessions that we do. Guys, so today we are going to talk about variables in research. What is a variable in research? A variable usually comes in statistical research. A variable is any aspect of research that varies. Any aspect of research that varies, okay? They are very important in research because variables will help us understand our research better, to frame our research, to understand the objectives, to achieve our goals. Variables are very important. There are so many kinds of variables. When you talk about the various kinds of variables, we will understand what are variables even more. Variables are of different kinds. Shall we talk about them now? Book discount is over. Yes. So we will now talk about the different kinds of variables. Variables in research are an attribute or feature of an object of study. What are you studying? Suppose in language study, you are studying the proficiency of students, language proficiency of students, their age, their geographic distribution, their economic status, all this is a kind of variable. Okay, what are the different kinds of variables? We will see one by one. I am going to give you questions. Based on that, I will explain. Based on the questions, we will explain, okay? The time a set of students spend on studying. 1. 2. Their test scores. What variables are these? Bolo. The time a set of students spend on studying. We are taking 5 students. Some of them spend 1 hour. 2 of them spend 5 hours. One of them spends 10 hours. The relationship between the time spent on studying and 2, their test scores. What variables are these? Is it independent? First one is independent, second one is dependent. Is it like that? First one is dependent, second one is independent. Is it like that? Or whether both are dependent? Whether both these are dependent? Tell me. Now, in order to answer, you should know what are independent variables and what are dependent variables, isn't it? Independent variable is a characteristic that the researcher can vary. The researcher can vary. For example, you can ask the students, listen, you can ask the students to spend 1 hour on studying and see how their test scores are affected. Then you can ask them to study 5 hours and then see how their test scores are affected. Then you can ask them to study 10 hours every day and see how their test scores are affected. Did you understand? Actually, independent variable is a variable that the researcher can vary. The researcher can decide. But dependent variables can be changed not by researcher but by the other components. Dependent variables we cannot change. Their test scores we cannot change. The researcher cannot change. The researcher can change only the time that students spend on studying. The researcher can decide that students should study 1 hour and then how their test scores will be affected we can see. The researcher can ask the students to study 10 hours. Will the test scores change? Did you understand? Actually, one time a set of students spend on studying it can be varied. But test scores cannot be varied. It is dependent on other factors. It is dependent on their age. It is dependent on the socio-political status, social status. It is dependent on factor 1. So actually this is independent. Because we can decide. Either, listen everybody, either we can choose 5 students and ask them to study 1 hour each or 5 hours each or 10 hours each. Or we can choose 5 students. One of them is already studying 1 hour. Another is already studying 5 hours. Another is already studying 10 hours. We can decide who to choose. So actually 1 is independent. 2 is dependent. This is the answer. Did you understand what I am saying? Time the set of students spend on studying, we can decide how much time we need. Depending on that, we can choose the students. Or we can ask the students to spend that much time. Yes, independent variable can be manipulated. Independent variable, the researcher can decide. Did you understand? So, independent variable is the cause. Dependent variable is the effect. Did you understand? Independent variable is the cause. I was here every day, Monday to Friday, only we have class na Aishi. I'm fine. Saturday, Sunday we don't have test course. Only Monday to Friday we have. You don't know that till now. So, independent variable. Listen everybody, this is very easy to remember. Independent variable is the cause. Dependent variable is the effect. Did you understand? Independent variable is the cause. Dependent variable is the effect. The time spent on studying is the cause. Their test scores is the effect. Clear? So, it is independent and second is dependent. Independent cannot be manipulated. Independent can be manipulated. Dependent cannot be manipulated. Every day our class is at 10 o'clock, Monday to Friday. Okay guys, next. So did you understand independent and dependent? Researcher can determine independent, but the dependent variable researcher cannot determine or manipulate. Okay. Your research tests whether the time spent on social media has an effect on reading comprehension. Listen, your research is based on whether time spent on social media has any effect on reading comprehension. Here in this case, the time spent on social media is an independent variable as well as manipulated variable. Correct or wrong? In this case, the time spent on social media is an independent variable as well as manipulated variable. True or false? Your research tests whether the time spent on social media has an effect on reading comprehension. Time spent on social media whether it has an effect on reading comprehension. Here, time spent on social media is an independent variable as well as a manipulated variable. Is it true or false? You are all right. It is true. Time spent on social media we can manipulate. For example, the researcher can say, okay, for the first 1 month, spend 1 hour on social media. Then researcher can say, next month, spend 10 hours on social media. Like that we can ask. Or 5 hours. Otherwise, we can already choose people who are spending low time and more time. The researcher can decide how much time we can choose. So it is true. It is an independent variable and it is manipulated. That means researcher can manipulate. Okay guys, manipulated variable is an independent variable because it is based on the researcher. But online course started. You can join anytime because all videos are recorded and you will get lifetime access. All videos are recorded and you will get lifetime access. You can join anytime. So, independent variable can be manipulated by researcher. So, it is correct. Both are true. Okay? Next. Teaching methods employed by teachers in a course is an example of dash. Teaching methods employed by teachers in a course. Is it manipulated? Is it independent? Is it active? Is it manipulated? My offline batch started today. It was wonderful. Is it manipulated? Is it independent? Is it active? Bolo. What is manipulated? Manipulated means researcher can manipulate. Independent also means the same thing. Researcher can ask them to follow certain teaching methods, or researcher can choose teachers who are following some teaching methods already. And also, what is active variable? Opposite is attribute variable. Attribute variable is passive. Active variable means what? When a manipulation of a variable has an effect on the experiment, that is active. Actually, independent, manipulated, active are all the same. Similar, okay? Active variable means it has an effect on the research. It has an effect on the subject of research. Did you understand? Passive does not have an effect. It is ABC. It is correct, ABC. Manipulated is researcher can manipulate. Independent is it is not dependent on any factor. It is the cause. Independent means it is not dependent on any factor. Active means it has an active effect on the subject. Did you understand? Our online course total fees is 9,000 for 3.5-4 months. You can join at just non-British literatures now if you want for 3,000. There will be exhaustive PDF, which is actually the material for the encyclopedia, upcoming encyclopedia. And also you will get lifetime access to videos. Abhi to chal raha non-British literatures. That is American and post-colonial literatures, then European. So manipulated variable, independent variable, active variable. Did you understand, guys? Now, intervening variables are used to explain the connection between other study variables. Intervening variables means dependent and independent will be there. But there will be another variable that connects these two. For example, if wealth is independent variable, you can decide, researcher can decide whether to choose rich people or poor people, what level of wealth you need to choose, you can decide. That is independent variable. And English language proficiency is dependent variable. Wealth is independent variable. English language proficiency is dependent variable. Which of the following is an intervening variable? If wealth is independent, English language proficiency is dependent, which of the following is an intervening variable? Yes, both papers are taught in online batch. Online batch is there, offline batch is there. Otherwise, just follow YouTube. So tell me now. Intervening variables, pay attention. Intervening variables are used to explain the connection. If wealth or rich or poor, that is the independent variable. That researcher can decide. English language proficiency, whether rich people will have more English language proficiency, whether language proficiency is connected to money, that is the study. English language proficiency is dependent. Which of the following is intervening? Access to quality English language media products. Access to good education. Bolo? Like many of you are saying, I think both of these is the answer. If you are wealthy, you might have access to good quality English media products and also good education. Both these might define your English language proficiency. Both these might define your English language proficiency. Both are intervening variables that connect the independent and dependent variable. Did you understand, guys? Is this course helping you? Today I am starting paper 1, na Anjali? Paper 1 it is. It might help you in paper 2 also. Because I am using our subject ka examples. Both it is, both. Is this helping you guys? Next, what is a moderating variable? I will tell you, a moderating variable changes the relationship between dependent and independent variables. A moderating variable changes the relationship between dependent and independent variables. There are dependent variables, there are independent variables. And moderating variable changes. Now look at this. In a study, looking at the relationship between geographic status, that means whether subjects are urban or rural. In a study, looking at the relationship between geographic status, that is urban or rural, and how frequently people get PhD degrees. Are PhD degrees got by urban people more or rural people? In that study, which of these is a moderating variable? Which of these is a moderating variable, changing the relationship between dependent and independent variables? Which of these? Is it age, dietary habits, religion? Which of these changes the relationship? Actually, age is very correct, only age. You know that in practical purposes, some religions will not let, but you can't say religion. Because, for example, in Hinduism or in Islam, some people give very much importance to education. There are Hindus as well as Muslims who are giving very high importance to education. There are Hindus as well as Muslims who give no importance to education also. You can't say religion. Religion has nothing to do with it. Isn't it? I know Hindus as well as Muslims and Christians who give no importance to education. They don't let their children study. I also know Hindus, Muslims and Christians who give very great importance to education also. Religion has nothing to do, it is age only. Did you understand? The relationship between urban, rural and PhD degree. Urban, rural and PhD degree. There, age is a very important factor because old people may not find it easy. Young people might find it easier to study. But age is not the only degree. Social support. If old people have lot of social support, they might do. Young people without social support or family support may not be able to do also. Other factors are also there. Did you understand? Is this helping you? Because I give good examples, I think it will help you now. So moderating variable changes the relationship between dependent and independent variables. Okay? Moderating variable means it changes the relationship between independent and dependent variables. Shall we do next one? Control or controlling variables have no effect on other variables. Researchers might intentionally keep a control variable the same throughout an experiment to prevent bias. Is it true or false? Control variables have no effect on other variables. Researchers might intentionally keep a control variable the same throughout an experiment to prevent bias. Again, control variable can be religion. Example can be religion. Researcher will intentionally take subjects from either Hindu religion or Islam religion to show that within that religion itself there are very highly educated people and very low educated people. So control variable can be taken and kept the same throughout to prevent bias. It is true. Did you understand? The example that we gave is suitable here. Religion can be a control variable to prevent bias. Did you understand, everyone? Within one religion to show that religion doesn't affect. Within one religion itself, because of other factors, some are highly educated, some are not educated. Like that you can show. When you study, always take examples that you understand. Then you will always remember. Shall I continue this paper one? Is this helping you? Whatever I understand, whatever I can, I will study and teach you like this. Shall I? Okay. If it is helping you with your encouragement, I will do. Okay. Next. Statement 1. Extraneous variables are unwanted variables that unintentionally change a study's results. Extraneous variables are unwanted variables that unintentionally change a study's results. Is it true or false? Extraneous variables are qualitative variables. Is it true or false, Bolo? Is this in the type of net? Is this like you get in exams, questions in net? Is this like same standard? Which of these, true or false? Extraneous variables are unwanted variables. We don't expect them. They unintentionally change a study's results. For example, we are studying the effect of TV on language proficiency. The effect of TV is independent variable. Language proficiency is dependent variable. Clear? The effect of watching TV on language proficiency. There, one extraneous variable will come, like parental support or extra tuitions. Parental support or extra tuitions are extraneous variables that unintentionally change a study's results. That is true. But extraneous variables are always qualitative variables is false. Extraneous variables can also be quantitative. Extraneous variables are not necessarily qualitative. It can also be quantitative. Quantitative means in terms of number, that you can count, that you can measure. That is quantitative. Parental support is qualitative. Did you understand? So it is true. 1 is true, 2 is false. Got it, guys? It is not only good to practice, you are also getting your concepts clear, na? There is theory also, not only practice. In a study assessing whether YouTube videos are effective in improving students' NTA net scores, I am doing a study. I am assessing whether YouTube videos are effective at improving students' NTA net scores. Which of the following are extraneous variables? Parental support, prior knowledge, marital status. Which of these is an extraneous, unwanted variable that is influencing your study? Which of these is an extraneous, unwanted variable influencing your study along with YouTube videos? If you have parental support also, it will help. It will help, of course. Parental support. Parents are saying, you don't have to do any work at home. We will buy you more internet connection, better internet connection. Parental support is important. Prior knowledge is also important. But marital status is not directly important. It may or may not be. It doesn't actually depend on marital status. Husband's support or wife's support, if you say, okay, good. Yes, but marital status, because married people may never study, married people may study more also. C is wrong. C is wrong. A and B only. Support of parent or society or husband or wife is important. That affects. Prior knowledge also affects, but marital status is wrong. Being married or not married doesn't mean anything. Somebody might be married. One woman might be married, but husband is abroad. Does that affect her studying? Nothing. Did you understand? So only A and B. Don't say C. Don't think subjectively. A and B only. A is important because support of parents may help you, may definitely help you. Parents are not disturbing you. Parents are giving you encouragement. Parents are giving you financial support. Important, na? Right. Got it? Is there any doubt? Next. Which of these are quantitative variables? Which of these are quantitative variables? Quantitative. No, this is correct, na? Time, height, distance, hair color. Time, is it quantitative variable? No. Extraneous variables will affect negatively also. Extraneous variables can be positive or negative. Which of these are quantitative? Now correct. Which of these are quantitative variables? Time, height, distance, hair color. Yes. Time, height and distance are quantitative. Listen everybody. In quantitative variables, variables that you can count and measure, they are called discrete quantitative variables. Height and distance are discrete quantitative variables. But quantitative variables that you cannot count correctly. That, for example, time, that is continuous quantitative variable. There are two kinds of quantitative variables, discrete and continuous. Height and distance are discrete. Time is continuous. Yes, hair color is not quantitative. Very good. If you are studying the relationship between time spent in studying and test scores, which of the following is a confounding variable? Confounding variable is like an extraneous variable. Confounding variable is something you don't expect. You never thought this variable will be there, and that variable is influencing your other variables. So, which of these is a confounding variable? Time spent in studying and test scores. Time spent in studying and test scores. How can time spent on social media? Even a person who spends no time on social media may get very low scores. A person who spends a lot of time on social media may get very high scores also. Time spent on social media is not directly proportionate. It is not very correct. Only age actually. Time spent on studying, actually, I think only age. No. Time spent on social media is not directly. It can be, yes, it can be. In some cases it can be. But correctly it is only age. Isn't it? Time spent in studying and test scores. I myself made the question. You are thinking D, eh? I thought time spent on social media may not directly affect. But age is a biological factor. Some people will not even have social media accounts. But if you spend 2 hours on social media, does that mean you will get low marks? Not necessarily. But if you are 20 and if you are 45 or 50, then it might affect, na? A person who is 20 and a person who is 50, for whom is it easier to get marks? No, I mean in research, listen to me, in research, sometimes D might be, but it should be objective. It should have objective because age is a biological factor. It is scientific. Age is scientific. With age, your capacity to study decreases. For every human being, it is like that. For every human being, it is like that. But D is not correct. It is not scientific. For example, the social media that you are spending, like you said, it might be diet and D, A and D, I don't think they are fully correct. C is biological, but these are not, these are subjective. A and D are subjective, isn't it? Yes, social media can have useful resources also. People who spend time in social media may get more marks also. Social media need not be negative. I think only scientific factor is C. I made this question, so don't worry. If you disagree, it is okay. I only wanted an opportunity to discuss with you. Okay? When you look at a variable, it should be scientific and objective and universal, na? Should be true always, na? Now, which of the following is a composite variable? What is a composite variable? A composite variable is a variable involving many factors. Yes, Sophia. Learning process slows from 35 years of age. It is scientific. It is better to study before you are 35. I am not saying that nobody who is over 35 will study. Okay, 40-year-old people, 45-year-old people may also be good. But scientifically, the chances are that when you are older, your capacity for studying decreases. Which of these is a composite variable? Composite means, nay. Composite means involving various factors. Two or more variables are combined. That is composite variable. So it is level of language proficiency only. Age and gender are not composite. Composite means two or more variables must be combined. Did you understand? Two or more variables must be combined. Did you realize this? Variables help us to make sense of how things relate to each other in a descriptive study. Did you understand? Variables help us to make sense of how things relate to each other in a descriptive study. Did you understand, guys? So, that brings us to the end of the section on variables. Like that, I will do many courses like this on paper 1. We will cover each area in detail. What do you say? Tomorrow I will take another. What did you not understand, Nimisha? Unable to understand what? Variables help us to understand how things in research relate to each other in a descriptive study. Okay? So we have come to the end of this session on variables. Tomorrow I will teach another aspect. We will discuss another aspect like this. So thank you very much. Composite variable. Composite variable means two factors. For example, proficiency in language. It is related to age. It is related to social background. It is related to education. Many variables combined in composite variable. Very easy. Whereas age and gender are single variables. They are not composite. You have to read extra, then you will understand. Okay? So thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow. Please like the session.